What if every dollar you paid into your mortgage, in 30 years, you got all of it back and you still keep the house? And decades later, your kids inherit it tax-free. Everyone would jump at that deal. But it's right here. That's what this does. Your money could do this. The same people who love owning a home would call this a bad investment. And that doesn't make any sense. Think about how a house actually works. If I showed you a house and said, for the first few years, you're going to put a ton of money into this thing, and it barely feels like you're building any equity, would you call that a bad deal? No, because if you would never buy any real estate. You don't buy it for what happens in year one, but for what it does over your lifetime. Now, here's where this gets interesting. That exact same pattern, it shows up somewhere else. And most people completely flip their logic when they see it. That same pattern shows up in whole life insurance. Don't believe me? Watch this. Let's say someone's putting in $30,000 a year. Early on, yeah, it looks low. You've put money in and the value hasn't caught up yet. So what? That's how it's supposed to work. And I get it. I had the same reaction when I first saw this. But guess what? I said the exact same thing when I bought my first house. If we only looked at years 0 through 5, would we call owning a house a bad investment? Not necessarily, because we know in home ownership, it gets better over time. And the same thing that flips in home ownership flips in this. Over time, more of what you're putting in actually sticks. The efficiency improves, the growth gets consistent, and eventually you stop putting money in, and it keeps growing anyway 5-6% every year with no taxes. Now pause for a second, because this is important. If you only look at the beginning, you will miss the entire point. And that's why people get this wrong. So the real question becomes, do you want something that looks good immediately? Or something that actually gets better the longer you own it? Because real estate already taught you that lesson. Most people haven't realized they're using double standards here. If you think about what real estate investors actually care about, the exact reasons you love real estate are the same reasons this works. And here's what should be interesting to you. If I describe an account where a portion of your money could earn double or triple what your savings account is doing, most people would at least be curious. But the second you attach a label to it, everything changes. No, whole life insurance, please stop, make it go away. You're killing me. What's going on? And you know what? Despite that fact, we all agree something doesn't need to look good at the beginning to be incredibly valuable over the long run. I mean, think about this. If I showed you a house where you put in $300,000 and 30 years later it grows to 1.3 million, no chaos, no stress, just steady growth, you'd feel great. Now compare that to this. You fund it for 10 years, then you're done. No more payments ever. But it keeps growing, 5%, 6%, tax-free. Meaning, to match this, your bank account would need to pay you 8, 9, 10% a year because it's taxable. And if you want to pull your money out, $50,000, $100,000, $500,000, no problem. Whatever it is, you don't need approval. No underwriting, no waiting, it's just there. And let me show you the thing that real estate really struggles with: access. If you want money out of your house, you're dealing with appraisals, underwriting, weeks, maybe months. Test it. Try pulling $100,000 out of your house in 3 days. You can't. With this, you can. Check this out. Even if you pull a big chunk, it doesn't die. It keeps going. You can take out hundreds of thousands, come back later, take more, and it's still on track to grow to over $1 million for your family. That's not normal. Most people have never seen money behave like this. And when they see it, they think it's impossible. There has to be a catch. But the catch is the same thing with your house. It's just not good years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. If you can get over the fact owning a house sucks the first 5 years, then you already believe in this. Because think about it. Wouldn't it be nice if your bank account did this? Or if your house could do this? What if every dollar you paid into your mortgage, in 30 years, you got all of it back and you still keep the house? And decades later, your kids inherit it tax-free. Everyone would jump at that deal. But it's right here. That's what this does. Your money could do this. So at some point, you have to decide how you want to think about your money. Do you want something that looks good right away? Or something that gets better every year you have it? Because the people who build real wealth understand this trade-off. Slow early, more efficient later, strong over time. Now let's compare this to something people have no argument against: term insurance. If you buy a 30-year term and you don't die, you get nothing back. And that's not a flaw. That's why it's cheap. So let's say you pay $1,400 a year for 30 years. That's $42,000 that either pays off or it doesn't. Now compare. Instead of spreading the cost out over 30 years, it just gets handled early. So yeah, it does feel worse up front, but you're okay feeling bad now to feel great later. Because here's the truth. If you only own term insurance your entire life, odds are when you die, you won't have any life insurance. Now, another common objection. Why not just invest more money? Why do this at all? It's a good question. You should invest. I invest. My clients invest. But this isn't about replacing your investments. It's about upgrading the part nobody thinks about, your cash. Because most people either don't have enough or it's barely growing. Earning 2% after taxes doing nothing. That doesn't feel good. So instead of settling for that, what if your safe money actually worked? Now you're not just protecting your portfolio, you're growing it. Another objection. This is only for rich people. Partially true. $30,000 a year is not for everyone. But that's not how most people start. If someone makes $100,000, maybe they do $3,000, 3%. I've got a client, an electrician, started young, $275 a month. He's on track to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in cold, hard cash, and even more than that in death benefit. This isn't about getting rich quick. It's just about upgrading what you're already doing. Another objection. I'll just be self-insured later. Okay. And you also don't need a house. You could rent forever. But most people choose ownership because the math works long term. Same here. And here's where the wealthy people really start to pay attention to taxes. Maybe you missed this earlier, but you would need 8, 9, 10% in a fully taxable account, a bank account, or a bond portfolio to beat this. If your money earns 5% in a bank, you are not getting 5%. After taxes, maybe 3% if you're lucky. And that drag compounds every year. So the real question becomes, where do you want to store your safe money? And wealthy people do not want their safe money getting chipped away every single year by taxes. That's why they do this. Now let's talk about cost. You might read online that permanent life insurance is way expensive, it costs too much. Well, let me ask you, what costs more, renting or owning? Renting's always going to feel cheaper up front, but at the end, you don't get anything. In ownership, it does feel heavy early, but over time, you get freedom. Price is not the same thing as cost. And the idea that someday you won't need life insurance, that sounds nice, but it's not reality. And one more objection I hear. Money in life insurance is locked up. Okay, compared to what? Your 401k? Your IRA? Your house? Most of your wealth is already locked up. This is actually one of the more flexible places you could store your money long term. And if you hear nothing else, hear this. This is where everyone gets this wrong. This isn't about what's mathematically the best on paper. It's about what you are optimizing for. Do you want maximum flexibility in the short term? This is not the move. Just like buying a house would be terrible if you plan to move in 2 years. But if you're the kind of person where you want long-term momentum and you think things like, why would I chase getting 8% returns on all of my money when I can at least get 5 to 6% far more predictably for at least the money I want to be safe anyways? And you're already a homeowner, you like the idea of owning, not renting. This was made for you. Not for all of your money, but the portion that you want safe, protected, and there when you need it. And if this is clicking for you, there's a link in the description and the pinned comment. It takes 30 seconds, fill it out, and I'll be happy to map this out together. Because the truth is, you already believe in this. You've just never seen it framed this way. And when you fix your dead cash, everything else gets easier.